I got you covered. All right, so, oh, yeah, sorry. We're going to go over that. I got you guys covered. Man, you guys are like, I thought this was going to be a sleepy, you guys are good. This is great. I'm going to talk through the insurance that covers that too. Absolutely.
Just can't charge them for one night and start a new contract?
You can charge them for one night and then start a new contract.
Charge them for they're 14 days,
yep.
13 days.
Not charge them.
And then do a new contract. So they don't have to move.
They should. They should not be in your actual property longer than 14 days. Okay. Yeah. All right, so on average, right, TripAdvisor, vacation rental TripAdvisors, they've been able to pay an average of 75% of their mortgage in a 7 to 10 year time span. Wow. You got to think about this, right? So my people who actually are on 30-year mortgages, right, fixed, variable, paying off 75% of the mortgage in a 7 to 10 year span by doing short-term rentals, as in comparison to the traditional landlords who pay 75% of their mortgage in a 20 to 25 year span. Isn't that crazy? So paying it at a way higher rate than some traditional landlords are. That was from the Wall Street Journal. Yep. So how to find these short-term rental properties? Great. Real dealers, how do you find deals now? Right? So this is not extra secret sauce. This is just having another toolbox to pull out when you're already going out and talking to motivated sellers, motivated landlords, motivated buyers, etc. This is just another way for you to be a transactional engineer. Everybody say transactional engineer. Right, because now you can say, well, hey, it hasn't been doing well so much in the sale space. Doesn't look like it's going to sell. How about if we think about moving it to renting, right? So do you want to put in a long-term tenant, or is it possible for me to maybe be the property manager and just go ahead and rent it out myself? Literally, my cousin this past Thanksgiving said that. That was exactly our conversation. Not even 2 days ago, I was at the table. She said, I'm moving to Florida. I said, okay. Everybody loves this house. We've had Thanksgiving at this house for God knows how many years. Do you have to sell it? She said, no, I don't. I could buy my house in Florida in my 401k. I said, okay. So why won't you rent it? I don't want to deal with, I'm going to be in Florida on the beach, living life, selling coconuts. And she literally was like, I want to be the person who sells like surfboard lessons. I was like, all right, girl. But yeah, so she does not want to deal with the headache of managing the tenants. So she says, Britt, do you want to manage the tenants? What did I say? Absolutely, right? It's a single-family house in a very hot area. Even if I could put renter, when a full-year tenant lease on it, but I don't have to because it's in a really good area. It's right by the train station, literally, like 2 minutes away from the train station, and I did the market analysis, and I know I will make more money if I put it on Airbnb, vacation rentals, or if I pick one of the niches that we're going to talk about today. I'll make more money doing that than just doing a long-term tenant. I'm from Jersey. I have people that are up the street that can, essentially help do the turnover, right? And we're going to talk through how to actually set up your property, so we'll go more in depth in that too. But I'm taking it on, right? I don't have to be there to manage it. I'm just going to collect what's off the top. She has to pay her mortgage, right? I'm going to pay the mortgage. I'm going to pay the insurance, the taxes. Taxes are what's going to kill us in Jersey. It's like $9,000 a year, property taxes in Jersey. Yeah, it's insane. And in 2007, her taxes were $23,000 a year. Right? Isn't that crazy? Right before the crash. I know. So we're gonna set a base that she needs to pay all her expenses. I might even throw her a little bit more off the top, but I know what I can make even above that, the bubble on top, right? All right, so real dealers, how are you finding deals now? How do we find deals as real estate investors? Throw out some strategies. MLS, okay, great. So if I'm putting offers in on the MLS, I'm looking at expired listings, right? People who are not selling their house. It's still in decent condition, maybe even, it's not as is, like you're going to actually go and rehab it, but it's just expired because the price is too high. Maybe I come in and say, hey, have you ever thought about renting it? Have you ever thought about doing it as a corporate rental? a vacation rental, just another idea to pitch to the seller.
And to disagree with one of your competitors a little bit south of here,
Okay.
investors can get the MLS. It's about $150 a month. You simply get a friend who's a broker or an agent, and you meet their assistant or their...
Well, you should have came to me first. I've been saying that, haven't I? Who can vouch that I've said that strategy? I could do it as a virtual assistant, too. So, just yes, I'm licensed. My virtual assistant, I can make an assistant underneath my license who has MLS access. You should have told me. I would have charged you a little bit more. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so you can absolutely. Oh, you did? No, but that's true. You shouldn't be kicked out for saying true things. Yes. So he was just saying, as a realtor, right? If you don't have MLS access, you could always be an assistant under somebody who does. That is a legal way to get MLS access versus you trying to give your code. And you guys get pinned because they ding IP addresses. So I've had that happen to somebody. Maybe let's not do it the black under the table way. Let's do it the right way, just to pay the extra fee. Have someone be an assistant under my license. You can get as much as you want with that. All right, so great. MLS. How else are we finding deals as real estate investors? Direct mail. Great. And actually, this is one of my biggest strategies that I do to get Airbnb properties. Direct mail. I'm actually targeting landlords. Yeah. I also actually go to landlord-tenant court because that's where they're evicting people. And I'm saying, oh, girl, I know. That was tough, huh? You got to evict that person. You got to spend how much money to evict them? Ooh, and they left your place a mess. Man, where's the property located? Tell me about it. Maybe, just maybe. What are your thoughts about us maybe doing short-term tenants so they don't leave so much damage in the property? So, you don't have to constantly be looking over your shoulder to manage these people. Might be able to help you out, huh? Okay. Y'all are easy sells. You don't need to be a little bit harder with me. Tell me no. Tell me, get out my face. No, it's okay. But yeah, so truthfully, direct mails is actually one of my bigger strategies for being able to find properties that I can do short-term rentals with. And we're going to talk through the different types of short-term rentals. I want to be clear, there's multiple strategies within short-term rentals, and I want to give you that information so you know how to do it as well. But yeah, so door hangers, right? Divorce campaigns, expired listings, free and clear, tax lien properties, eviction court, like I said, is truly one of my favorites. For other strategies, the online strategies versus offline strategies. But online on the internet, right? So I have a landlord squeeze page, again, kind of targets people who are tired landlords looking to actually give up their property. My primary website, Facebook ads, my landlord page actually has search engine optimization on it. So I'm, of course, getting leads on the internet as well for that. So the same way that you find regular deals, don't overthink it, is the same way that you can make one of these an actual property for yourself, right? Just having that extra tool belt to know the situation. And when you're analyzing a property, you should be analyzing it for multiple things. You're analyzing it for if you want to wholesale it. You're analyzing it if you want to rehab it. You're analyzing it for rentals. Analyzing it for short-term rentals. Right? When you have that tool belt and you talk to the seller, you now get their real motivation, right? For my cousin, she was just like, I'm good. I don't need to sell it. I'd like for the mortgage to be paid down. You take it away and do what you want with it. And I know that I can rent it with long-term, or I know I can make more money by doing it as a corporate rental, which we'll talk about. All right, so the market analysis part. So this is the math, but this is what I want to point out to you. Helpers for calculations. So Elliot and Me is a great startup. It actually, again, Silicon Valley peeps that launched this calculator to try and show exactly the accurate renting price for your Airbnb listing. So you can go on this, it's a website too, it's not just an app, and you can actually estimate for the week of November, next Monday through Friday, what could you roughly get for your property via Airbnb TripAdvisor. So let's do a quick example so you can see it. Great. So give me an address, Jeff. Okay. All right, that Jeff. That's fine. 6601 or 9? 01, right? Oh, 9, I can't remember. You know, I've been there and I still don't remember the address. 6609 First. Yep. All right, so this is just like the dates that you can pay or click on, right? So do you want it to see from April? We can pick different dates, but it's going to give you an estimate of what you may get for that week. So just from April 1st to April 9th alone, oh, sorry, you guys can't see. I'm over here talking like so into it. Sorry. Okay. So you can pick the date, right? So just from April 1st to April 9th alone, right? $2,400 for the week. Jeff, you going to be there April 1st to April 9th? Okay. So he's doing the management, right? But you can get paid to leave. So it also goes through trends, right? So the high seasons, the low seasons for your property, right? Also just how price sometimes does correlate with weather. Obviously the seasons, like I said, which I think is a good little indicator for you to kind of see, because this is accurate too, right? For the 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, or we can go ahead and, adjust the amount of bedrooms to get a more accurate count. That's just a free one that I've done before, where I actually tell people to spend their money. It's very cheap to do, but we'll go through this too. Oh, wait. So that was one free site. So everybody say free 99. All right. So that first one, Elliot and Me, is a free estimator. So it gives you a rough estimate based on what's going on in the area, your address, and other competitors around you, how much you may potentially make for the week. The second one is rented.com, which is rental income calculators. This is important because this is, again, I know what separates me from a 6-figure earner for a 7-figure earner. I want you to write this down. The 7-figure earners always know their numbers. That is truly the difference that I have found across the board between 6-figure earners in real estate investing and 7-figure earners in real estate investing. I know my numbers down to the T for every business that I'm doing, down to the marketing costs, down to the rehab costs. That's why I do turnkey, because it's the same thing every time. I'm meticulous about the numbers, right? I'm meticulous about the numbers as it relates to this strategy too. What exactly are my fixed costs? What are my mortgage, insurance, taxes, my marginal costs, right? What are the expenses I'm going to incur by cleaning the unit, utilities for when someone uses it, my managerial costs, right? The cost that's actually going to make the venture worth my time. Because the difference between me and you all is you all are doing this strategy, you see a little bit of profit, but you don't know exactly how much you're making per hour for the time that you're putting in, right? I know how much I make per hour for everything I'm doing in my business. It's a very big difference, right? So I know even if I'm going to make $1,000 extra a month on a property, based off of how many hours I have to put in, is it worth my time? I may pass on it. Whereas you guys see $1,000 a month extra and you're like, sign me up. I get it. But just make sure that it's also worth your time, right? Because then if you're putting 40 hours a week into that for an extra $1,000 a month, is it worth your time? Probably not, right? So let's just also make sure we know that analysis as well. So this is an example a student gave me. Property is $1,850 per month. Utilities run about $150 for electricity and gas combined. The house cleaner is going to charge $120 per cleaning, and they want only $50 for that oversight. I said a low number, but I'm not going to fight with the client. Therefore, if you do add all those costs up, divided by 31 or 30.5 days in a given month, that comes to the dollar amount that they have to make, which is $71 a day, right, in order to get that full, to cover their costs and their $50 oversight, right? So you're thinking about $71 a day. If my property in the DMV area, on average, prices, depending, for 1 bedrooms, you're looking at anywhere between, on the low seasonal months like now, maybe $75 $60 to $75. On the high end, when the season picks up to almost $150 to $200 a night, right? You're making sure you're averaging $71 a day to make it worth your expenses and your time. Does that make sense? Right, so formula still applies. So you're adding up your expenses, how much you want to make, dividing it by the days that you may not even want to list it for 30 days. Maybe you only want to list it for, because it's December coming up and you're in the house, you want to stay in it for a week, so maybe you only divide it by the 20 days, right? So you have to just figure out for this month, how much do I actually want to make in a given month? Make sense? I saw a couple of hands. Oh, yeah. I couldn't hear you, sorry. You're such a sweet, low voice. Yep, great. So she asked me, do I have an itemized list of all the typical expenses for a property? You know I do. But I'm going to go over some of them as well that you'd have to spend for doing a short-term rental. So we'll go through that and the costs. I got you covered. Yep. Mortgage, insurance, taxes. Yep, that was the full price in it. Great question. All right, so that one is rented.com is just the rental income calculator. Again, I said I like this because it's a free strategy for you guys to use just to kind of plug in some of the numbers on a analysis base. And then, of course, it's going to not let me click on it. So this one I also like too, like I said. Just, what's the average rental period, the rate, the occupancy rate. So this is important. We're going to talk about that. Annual gross revenue you can make. Your marketing, utilities, booking costs, insurance, property taxes. How much is your time worth? This is the big one, right? How much is the light maintenance, HOA fees, landscaping, cleaning, essentials, and on-site manager? That's for free 99. Everybody say free 99. Now say you're welcome, or thank you. Sorry. You're welcome, though. You guys can have this one. This is also a really good rental income calculator for short-term rentals that I also really like. Now, this one, I really want you guys to do when you are really, really serious about doing this strategy because it does cost money. However, it's only $15 per report. And I actually do this because it gives a historical pricing trends for the whole year based off of all the properties in your area. It's going to give you your top 5 competitors in the area. And so you can really, like comparables that we run in real estate, right? Who are your comparables? What are you trying to do to actually get a higher price, or what features or amenities are you offering that other people, have or aren't doing? So it allows you to run comparables on the different short-term rentals that are also in that area. In addition, it also is going to give you what's going on in the actual your city, which is great. So it also plugs into conferences, into other niches, which I like, because then I can also see, when there's something that not even on my radar, I should be listing it for X amount of price, which is something I wouldn't have picked up on. So there's a rodeo convention at the hotel up the street, and I'm not thinking about it, but the hotel's booked for that convention, and my property happens to be only 2 miles away from the hotel. Right? It's going to let me know that takes place so that I can then price it accordingly. Right? So you make sure you're getting competitive within those prices. And so this one is called Air DNA. And so it provides an analysis on what you can potentially make on your home based on the historical data. I'm going to actually show you what an Air DNA report looks like, so you can actually see it on a house that we did for a mastermind student, actually, who's here, and realize whether it was going to be a good rental or not.
My question was really about that.
Yeah.
The analysis that you showed a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
It was about the cleaning, and we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm assuming that the example was 120 for the month.
No, not necessarily. Sometimes people are charging $120 per cleaning.
Yeah, but that's what it said.
Oh.
That was not part of the calculation.
Oh, okay, yeah. So if it probably just had the demo in there, yeah. So you can map out, if you know that your person is $120 per cleaning, then yes, you know when you want them in there to budget that monthly. Yes, great questions. And that's if you had a linen service, right? A linen service delivered to us every 2 weeks. So I had to put that in there as an additional cost. Great. Yes, if you change you have to go back and change the description. So you can say I'm doing it for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and it will pull up that data. Or you can go back in and say I'm going to do it for a 4-bedroom, 1-bath. You can just change the fee, how much you have for your property. Yeah, exactly. So you can rent it, and we're going to talk about that, especially with if you have a house, knowing when to do it or advertising it for a group versus a single room. Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. Yeah, Yep, exactly. And houses are within, and that's the biggest thing. So in the DMV area, there's a shortage of actual family houses and group housing. That's what makes it so hard, because DC is obviously, we're so small with row houses, X amount. You can only fit but so many people in an actual given space. So yes, DC puts a cap on how many people can actually be in your place based off of the occupancy and the size of it. That doesn't mean that we can't take advantage of, putting the max on it, right, so that we can get the most bang for our buck. Great question. I'm going to go through that too. Yep. Safety issues. Yeah, we'll go through that too. That also comes under the insurance, which I have a slide on too, so we'll talk through that. Making sure that you're protected as a renter and what you should make sure to get. Oh.
I mean, against assault, or by guests.
Oh, okay. Okay, so fair enough. So he's saying that, there may be some guests who are a little shaky. I have encountered some myself, and there are ways to customize your rental for certain niches where you will never have to run into somebody who may be a little shady. So we'll talk about that. I got you. All right, so air DNA, just really quickly. Man, I have so much more to get through. Holy smokes. I didn't even realize on time. I apologize. We'll skip. Sorry. Let me just look. Good content so far, though? Okay. Sorry, I have a lot of slides. I was trying to I just thought of some things this morning and more stuff. Okay, we'll skip that analysis, but I'll come back to it if we have time. But it basically just showed. It was a property that Alyssa had. It was actually a friend of mine. I don't really go visit friends anymore properties because everybody just pulls my brain and wants to do way too much. So Alyssa was going to actually go and list it, Jerron's property in Alexandria. Of course, he said he wanted to leave out the country. He's an IT guy, wanted no parts to be with the business. But of course, Brittney said, I may do short-term rentals, and now Jerron thinks he's a short-term rental expert and wants to do it himself. Okay, right, so fine. So I did an analysis report. Basically, like I said, go on AirDNA. You can order the report for $15 a pop, right? So that's fine. $15 gives me the historical data for that area, and it let me actually see that for his 3-bedroom, 2-bath property, that the average rent or the average person that was making money in that area equated to about $3,000 to $3,500 a month. Now, that actually won't work for Jerron because Jerron's mortgage is $2,900 a month, right? So we actually got to see that because just the mortgage alone is $2,900. He bought it back in a time where he was obviously overpriced. It's really hard to sell it now. This actually may not be the best property to do Airbnb because I'm not going to make but so much based off his given expenses. So he's going to be best trying to find a winter tenant because there's no room for me to make that extra off the top. Make sense? Okay, and so that's why AirDNA told me within the historical area of Alexandria, these 5 people that are your competitors are making X amount a month, right? They're telling me. So I know, is that my number? Is that a really high number for me? Great. If it's kind of on the cusp, like that property was, it's not going to work for me. It may work for them because if their property was $300,000 and they're killing it, right? Jerron's property was $500, trying to list it for $500,000, so it's, his mortgage is very high, so it's just not going to work. So that's what I concluded based off that report. Let's go through this. So studies show, this is in order, the best type of renters for your house, corporate renters. So let's talk about this, my student Bruce, right? So I have now reached out to Toyota. I have now reached out to Ford. I have now reached out to Geico and all the different consulting companies who are now coming in to do work in D.C. I found my niche. I'm doing corporate rentals targeting a certain industry. Now, let's think about this, Bruce. I have 2 guys that are coming in for my short-term rental. They're only going to be here for 5 days for a work conference, and they want to stay. So the safety concern. Now, they're paying on their corporate credit card, right? So do you think these people are really going to damage the property if their company's paying for them to fly and stay somewhere? Probably not. Damage me. Yeah. I get you. Okay. Airbnb does do reference checks, so to speak, in terms of, so when you go to verify yourself on Airbnb, they are pulling your criminal, it's kind of a big brother thing, but they are pulling they ask you to type in your social security number. They're pulling your record to see if you would actually even be eligible for, to rent your space on Airbnb. Yeah. Yes, we'll talk about that. So she asked about with corporate rentals, what's the type of style? So that's very important to know because we're going to look at, when we start to talk about market analysis, if I'm saying corporate rentals is my strategy of niche, then I need to know exactly what a corporate renter would want. Another high one is nurses, right? Nurses who have to travel and actually be at hospitals. Family by the hospitals, right? Catering to families who are going to see a sick patient. There are niches within Airbnb. Mine is international travelers. I cater to international travelers. Therefore, it makes sense for me to have a guide, the Metro map, all these different amenities for an international traveler to make their experience the easiest. My girlfriend, who I just set up her place, caters to hearing impaired. Her rental is catered to hearing impaired. She's booked almost 90% occupancy out the year because she's one of the very few that does this. So her house lights up. There's codes, signals for the phone to ring. So she has catered her house, and we looked up all the different cool gadgets to put into it that caters to hearing impaired. And she's right by the airport. So that makes sense. No corporate rental really wants to be hearing DCA Reagan flights take off, but for someone who's hearing impaired, it made perfect sense. So I said this may be a better niche for your rental. We did it. She's had an operation for about 9 months now and is making a boatload of cash off of that strategy.
Yeah.
You see how I think? Give me a little credit? No, it's okay.
If you make a home, a house into disability accessible, it's all tax deductible.
It is.
That exact year. So
You-
you take it off that year.
You beat me to the punch. That was my next line. Absolutely. Yep. So you can actually take that off as a bigger expense. There's also grants to apply for. So if you want to actually do remodeling on your home, you can apply for government grants that cater to making housing readiness for people with students with disabilities, people with disabilities. Yep. And I know where those websites are. All right. Second study show is large groups. This is huge because, again, the cost of hotels is so expensive. So if I'm, for example, with the penthouse, that's why we were always rented and we could list the property for $1,500 a day, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a larger group that's coming in, and hotels cost almost $200 a night per room that they have to fill for the large groups. So we had church groups, tourist groups, coming in for larger groups. So if you have a bigger house, a 3,000 square foot house, or different levels, multiple beds that you can rent out and make it in a group setting, you are allowed to do that as well. Again, it's below the 14 days, right? And you just have to make sure, we'll look at the occupancy just to make sure that based off the square footage, it doesn't cap out on the occupancy. Like for 10,000 square feet, I know I can have up to 320 people max in that place based off the occupancy. Just we can look into that too. That's also on the DCRA website, also your Maryland County website as well, if you're in Maryland. So you can have somebody tell you what that cap would be based off the square footage. Yep.
Competitive advantage you can mention compared to the extended stay hotels, etc. for your place? Or just some custom things?
I think it's like, so just what makes my place unique as opposed to staying at a hotel?
Like an extended hotel.
Oh yeah.
Designed for short term.
That for short term, yeah, because my pricing is still sometimes lower, right, than that. Also, depending on location, right? The penthouse was right by the metro. You could walk to the metro on a sunny day, so it's really close. Also, the amenities. So, extended stay is going to provide amenities such as, I think they have gyms sometimes not. But mine was catered, my laser catered focus, and we'll talk about this too, was getting around the city with ease, right? So like I said, as soon as they came, I had a covered sheet that I would give them to each person. It's laminated, saying covered, and it's laminated, and it has the entire map of DC, top restaurants to go to. They got a packet of the coupons of where to go. Right, so it's the ease of now getting through the city. Oh, guess what we're doing on Monday night? There's a bar crawl. Go with 10 people that you came with to the bar crawl, because I know I'm going to get a kickback off the bar crawl for how many tickets people I sent them. Right, so you kind of make your also niches, and you make more money than extended stay that's just selling you on the room itself. I'm selling you on the experience. And I need you guys to totally smile when you see that, because that is what people are buying nowadays, the experience of a place versus just regular travel or leisure. So that's a good niche. Third one, which has also been my highest one, is insurance claim renters. So these are my people who have actually been in fires, houses, corporate rentals, apartment buildings where there's actually fires that have taken place in their building and need a short-term place to stay. So if it's under the 14 days, I let them actually stay in my rental. And the insurance company is going to actually pay up front 1.5% higher than the market rate, because it can. And if they damage the property, that's the insurance company's card on file. So you could also be targeting insurance companies who have claims for people who need places to stay. That's also a niche within itself. I talked about disability renters, international travelers, and then last is U.S. tourists. So I say locals, but I'm not also just talking about locals in D.C., Maryland. I'm talking about all across the U.S. You guys just have us Americans just have such high expectations and just want so much that someone who comes in only paying $30 a night wants the world handed to them and some. So I tend to stay away personally from people who are traveling from Virginia or Maryland or even further out to stay because they expect some amenities. And some people aren't used to the Airbnb model where I'm not required to provide those amenities. I'm not required to change your bed every single day. Right? I'm not required to give you the computer for free internet access. I'm not required, because it's a house, for you to use my washer and dryer for free $99. We learned. So just different things. And again, that's what I was making money off of. When they used the washer dryer, they were paying for it. We had a computer timer too, so anytime they were on the internet for over an hour, they paid. International travelers are used to paying for that. They go to cafes when you need the internet. You don't have a phone that works. You're used to just going to an internet cafe to pay for that Wi-Fi time. So that's why I can make an extra bank off that, because that's what they're used to paying for. So I have 8 different ways that I'm making money off of an international traveler versus a U.S. traveler who expects these things, right? So that's why I tend to stay away from that. Not to say that couldn't be your niche. It's a harder niche to cater to, unless it's groups. Maybe it's you want to open up, like I said, U.S. tourists, but they're large groups. People like we had the church group, right? We had a whole bunch of students that were part of a college that came that were being paid by the college. So it was for like a spring break leadership retreat. So they did like a service project, right? Those groups of people that you know it's not going to get wild and crazy because it's on someone else's dime. Yeah.
Are they there like at like the hotel, or are they expecting their limits changed, or are they expecting?
Yeah, it depends what niche you're trying to cater to. Absolutely. There are people that want to come that do not expect their lens to be changed, that actually prefer the privacy, that just want to, like I'm even someone as a traveler, I just want the room. I don't want anybody to bother me. I'm going to do all my stuff myself, and I don't need a cleaning person. I need my own privacy, my own time.
The Airbnb model is like a hotel model.
It's not like a hotel model, no. I don't want you to think that because you're sharing, right? It's part of that shared economy space, so you don't have to provide the amenities. People know that Airbnb means more of a homely house feeling. Therefore, I'm not expecting hotel amenities. That's why I don't pay the hotel price, right? So I'm paying a cheaper price to get everything I need, which is a comfortable bed, TV, Wi-Fi, and I'm good to go, right?
They screen out students on break, crazy break, so they don't come in or anything.
No one's coming to D.C. for, like, Get Wild, Girls Gone Wild type stuff. But, no, yeah, so truthfully, so for me personally, right, so with the penthouse, I called William & Mary. I went to William & Mary. I've done service trips before, right? So a group of us, 20 of us, for spring break, went to Gaston, North Carolina, stayed on the lake house, and we taught in charter schools in North Carolina. There's 20 of us. William & Mary paid for it. I didn't have to pay for that. So I called William & Mary and said, hey, you guys have any service trips coming to D.C.? Plenty. They have about 24 that come throughout the whole summer. So they can come, stay with me. I know that the school is paying for it. Therefore, if it's damaged, anything happens on the property, I'm getting paid from the school to cover it. Right? So I'm covering my butt as it relates to that. And they're staying less than, those service trips are sometimes 7 days. They're 7-day trips. They're in and out. So they're there for under the 14 days. Yes. Yes, sorry. We are going to go to that because I'm